welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday. I hope you are all enjoying a great week so far. All is right with the world when I get myself back on my regular posting schedule. So I'm so happy that you are here to join me for this tutorial. Now, this card was a request from a viewer for one of our haul videos where I shared this die, and I had a completed card with that die just so that I could share what I had created with it. And that was in a very classic traditional holiday palette. It was reds and greens and black, and so I thought it would be fun to change up the palette for this card, and we're going to do a tutorial this time instead of just a share. But I'm changing all of these colors to something much softer and sweeter and more shabby chic inspired. So this is going to wrap up our holiday season in the Etsy shop. We're going to still continue to have a couple of Christmas tutorials next week, but we are going to be finished adding projects to the shop, and that is just because it's time to transition into the next season. I want to make sure that I have enough time to get the shipping done. It has been so much better than last year so far, and things are getting to their destination so much faster. I'm really relieved for that, but I did still want to make sure that I have time to get these projects to where they are going. So like I said, this is going to be the last holiday project, and then we're going to transition into the next season. And so I'm not quite ready for Valentine yet, but we do have a lot of everyday occasion cards to be adding, and mini albums and those kind of more fun detailed projects. So be on the lookout for those, but this is going to wrap up Christmas in the shop. And I do want to thank everyone who made our holiday season such a great success. I'm so happy that I was able to get all of my projects out to so many people. It's very nice of all of you to support my small business, and I'm very thankful for all of you to support me and let me do what I love and share my projects with you. So thank you all for that. Now, before I get blathering on too much longer, let's get into that tutorial. So I've got my dies here so that I can share them with you before I get started. And the inspiration was this lantern die. This is from Gina Marie Designs, and in the original card I had a different palette. So this is going to be much more softer and more shabby chic. So I've just cut that with some different colors. I'm also going to be using that pine cone die, and I'm still working in the smaller size along with the same craft on chocolate brown layering. There are some foliage dies here from Sunny Studio that I worked in as well, and this is a garden branch die set that I picked up from scrapbook.com. So in the original card, the size was 6 by 6. I'm going to continue on with that, and so I did finish the inside with some coordinating paper that will match the front. Here is my background paper. It has a very subtle snowflake pattern and a little bit of this from the collection that it went with, but I'm going to cover that up in the layering process. So I've got that bordered with a beautiful gray, very soft gray cardstock. Then I did pop all that up on some foam spacers. I'm going to pull this a little bit closer so that I could get this centered well. And then we'll start with the layering. Okay, so here is the front part popped up. I do want to hide this portion, and so I'm going to go with a very weathered wood grain here on the bottom. This is part of a Tim Holtz Christmas paper pad, by the way. And then I'm going to also put on the same large scallop circle that I used in the original card, and it has a very sweet scripty font with all of these little stars, and the scallop also has a stitching detail. I don't know how easy that is to see. I put that up on a spacer as well. So we're just gonna continue to build our depth here, and it's going a little bit higher, but mostly in the middle. So here is that lantern, and I cut that from the same gray cardstock as the border. I don't know how easy it is to tell the difference, but I dry brushed a white acrylic paint over that just to get that more mottled look so that it would look very weathered and kind of old, like, you know, vintagey metal would. So I also used some vellum here to cover the background so that the pattern in the back would not show through as easily. So then what I did was I popped that up on another spacer. This is all about building that dimension, and I was able to use the same foam tape as I had on that. I just cut through with my Teflon scissors and made it a little bit narrower so that I could support all of those areas that needed to be reinforced. And so I'm just going to go ahead and add that right to the center, making sure that I have everything that needs support on that circle base. So here is the background, and now I'm going to bring in my floral arrangement. So this is a combination of those foliage dies. I used them in my last video as well. I'm really enjoying these two sets, the Sunny Studio and the Garden Branch die set. My favorite ones of the year, and they will continue to be used all throughout the year because they're not necessarily all very holiday. Now I did layer in some metallics just so that I could bring the beautiful shine and glimmer from those stars up to the front of the card. And then I also put in some white branchy dies just to brighten up this kind of shabby chic inspired arrangement. It is a large arrangement and there's only one big flower in the middle. I would typically have two smaller ones on the outside, but for this project I decided to use my pine cones to add that balance. There's a little bit of twine here as well on either side, a loopy twine bow, and then a loopy bow of pink wrinkle ribbon, and that kind of fills in the bottom. I've also used some of these berries from the stem. I picked this up from Hobby Lobby, and I think those tones work so well together. And what I did was I just kind of pulled that off. See, and now they're kind of attached. You can pull off the greenery and then add them to the back of your floral arrangements, and that gives a lot of nice detail and finishes it off. So what I want to do is just add this to the bottom of my card. I'm going right down to where the ribbon will meet the bottom, and of course because this is very heavy, I'm just adding this with hot glue. So I want to center that large flower in the middle and then work the foliage around so that it creates a pretty little swag at the bottom. And then once I've got that pressed in place, I'm just going to refluff the petals of that poinsettia so that I don't lose that beautiful dimension. I brought down a couple of charms to add as well, and these are more of a token than a shaped charm. I really liked the circle, kind of reinforces the large circle on the base, and so it just has a simple little reindeer motif in the middle, and they're tied with string. I'm going to add these, as I always do, with my string at a staggered level, and then press that string into hot glue. I did get a few peeps comment that I'm putting my finger in hot glue, and I really didn't even notice I was doing that until someone mentioned it, but I guess after all these years I'm sort of immune to it, and it never hurts, so I guess that's good. But you should not do that yourself, because I don't want my friends to get burned just because I apparently don't have feeling in my fingers anymore. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish that string, cut string, with my vintage button, and that's going on with hot glue as well, just to make sure that it's very secure. And then I will bring in some more of those sequins just to balance the detail on the right hand side and bring it over to the left. So I think maybe I want to put one on the lantern itself and then kind of draw them out on the layers so that kind of works all together. And of course I'm going to use my Tombow to add those. Now remember, next week we're going to do one of our videos as a process tutorial for our December daily, and that is me working on my 2020 daily. So if you are working on any kind of memory keeping, then that will interest you. I don't have my second video planned for next week, but for January, I do plan to crash my stash and work through a lot of my collections with some good basic designs that can be used with just about any collection you have, whether it is old or new. So I hope that you plan to join me for that. And that is all for our card. I really thank those who asked if I could recreate this as a tutorial, because I think it turned out beautifully, and it also helps to show the different diversity that you can use with just one die. We got a very classic look on the first card. This one is much more soft and very Shabby Chic inspired, so I love them both for exactly what they are. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you let me know in the comment section below and give me a big thumbs up for this video. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe, and as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!